Hello, and welcome back to vlog number 4 of MD to RN. MD is a play on my name, Melissa Del Beato, to RN, registered nurse. And it's been a while since I've made a video, and so I wanted to come back and update all of you who've been waiting patiently. And also, this is mostly a vlog for myself, so in future memories, I will know how I felt at certain times, throughout my nursing career journey. So the first thing I wanted to update you on is that it's been very hectic trying to manage everything. So that's why I haven't made as many updates as possible. So I'll dive right into how I originally thought of nursing school and how maybe some of those things have matched what I thought, and maybe some of them might be different than what I originally thought nursing school was going to be like. So my original thought of nursing school was that it was going to be very tough. It was going to, in my head, it was set up like prereq or undergrad classes, all my other undergrad classes that I've had, but that it would just be maybe a little harder or something to that effect, and plus a clinical experience, which is when you go to the hospitals and shadow a nurse. I thought that would be what was different. And a couple other things maybe it would be different. I was imagining. Well, it turns out that nursing school isn't quite at all like any of the prereq classes I've taken, or any of my undergrad or graduate classes. Nursing school is unlike any school I've ever done before. And that sentiment is really hard to convey to others. I've heard people say nursing school is hard, but I didn't know what made it hard and why it was hard. That's like subjective to each person. But from my experience, I can tell you why it's hard. Well, first thing is, it's hard, first of all, because I'm working. That would be with any of the classes, even prereq classes I've taken. It's always harder when you're doing something else like working. But I have to work quite a few hours. Like right now I'm working 50 hours a week, so that's over full time. Plus I'm going to school full time. And this semester at Valencia College, the full time includes 3 classes. So there's health assessment, and that's basically the class where you kind of learn how to physically assess someone. Then there's pharmacology, which a lot of you might be familiar with. It's learning the names of drugs and how they interact in your body. And then there's introduction to nursing, which is kind of, as the name implies, it gives you like the baseline of how nursing is in general, and how you should act, and morals and values and things like that, history of nursing. So all of these classes combined with working has been very tricky. And a lot of that trickiness is because it's not just 3 separate classes, it's kind of more like each class is really 2 or 3 classes. And the reason I say that is health assessment, it has an online component. There really isn't a lecture for it. So if you're somebody who likes lecture learning, which I do, it's really just kind of mostly read the book, watch some of the old videos that they have prepared, and take your test. So there's not really a lecture component to that. And so back to the reason I said there's like maybe 2 or 3 classes within one class is because there's that online component where you do your homework and stuff. And then there's also a lab for that one. So there's kind of like 2 classes you have to think. They're kind of separate. Like the lab, the information relates to the class, but it's not the same as the online component. So they're really kind of different. As far as introduction to nursing goes, that one is kind of like 3 classes, because you do have at Valencia this semester at least an online lecture. You have an on-site lecture, so we go to class. We have an on-site lab, we go to lab, and we also have the clinical component, which is like kind of like they're all kind of like separate classes. And pharmacology follows health assessment being kind of like 2 classes. So in my mind, there really is kind of like 7 classes total. And maybe others don't view it that way, but I do, because they are separate components and they do each separately need separate attention. And there's not really a way to study for, like, you can't study for lab and the lecture at the same time for introduction to nursing. It's kind of like You got to do them separately, like I just said. So that's made it very difficult. Not only that, each week is different. You really need to have open availability. For example, sometimes you will go to lab at the morning session. Because of COVID, they've had to break the sessions up. So the whole cohort, the whole group of students, some go in the morning, some go in the afternoon, some go in the evening, and each week it switches. That usually it's the same day of the week, but it switches times, and their expectation is that you're available for like between like 8 and 6 or something to that effect. So you really can't plan anything else around that for those specific days. I'm going to class on site about 2 days a week. So Mondays, I have Introduction to Nursing in the morning, and in the afternoon, I either have Pharmacology lab or Health Assessment lab. Then on Wednesdays is all devoted to Introduction to Nursing lab. So right now, half of the day will be devoted to the lab and half of the day will be devoted to clinical. We have not started our clinical yet. It is going into week 11 now, and we will just be starting them this coming Wednesday. So week 11 is when we, in this cohort, this semester, have started ours. I think it depends on which semester you start and how quickly they're able to make those contracts with the schools or whatever they need to do, paperwork or whatever. So those things, working a lot and having so many classes within each class, it really isn't just like you have 3 classes. Those things have made it really difficult for me, as well as I mentioned, not having a lot of actual lectures. So you're given some PowerPoints for health and pharmacology mostly. You're given some PowerPoints, and they're not always the best. And there's no lecture, like I said, and then you just need to read the book and read the PowerPoints, and then you're supposed to be able to just take the test after that. That's pretty difficult because a lot of these concepts are hard to drive home. Like pharmacology, for example, I think our first exam we might have had, I want to say it was like 9 or 10 chapters that we were given within like the 2 or week time span. And if you know anything about pharmacology at all, or if you have any recollection of that, it's pretty heavy stuff. So learning that much information in that short amount of time, on top of your other classes, on top of the labs they have for pharmacology, and on top of working, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like I said, I've been able to handle working full-time and going to school full-time with my prereqs and undergrad classes, and I had no trouble. I mean, it was a little difficult, but it wasn't hard. But nursing school has really almost done me in. Full-time working and school. So although it's doable, and each program's different, what I want to say is this information I'm telling you is specific to Valencia for the most part. Some of it you can apply to other schools, but the reason it's so much at once is because Valencia changed their full-time schedule. Used to be 5 semesters long, and now it's only 3. So they've taken some information out possibly and added some information in and switched things around into classes so they're a little different. And now it's only 3 semesters, so it's kind of condensed and accelerated. I looked up all other accelerated schools, and almost all of them are 3 semesters. And so it falls right along with the accelerated programs at any of the other schools, I would imagine. So if you are able to handle that, then you will be pretty good. I will say that a lot of the students, even students who aren't working, are having a hard time. So you can keep that in mind. Everybody's different. Everybody has different goals. My goal really was to start as soon as possible. You can see my other vlogs that noted that. But I think next semester I will drop down to part-time, which means I will only extend. So I would have graduated next summer of 2022, but it'll add 1 more semester on if I pass all my classes. And so I'll graduate at the end of fall in probably December of 2022, which is not bad. I would rather have a better work-life balance, work-school life balance, because right now it's been really hard. I'm not going to put it lightly because this is my vlog and this is really how I feel. It's been so difficult at times It really, you can't even breathe sometimes. It's so much. And I can't even imagine the people who work full time and are doing the school full time and have kids or something, some other obligation added to that. I really cannot even imagine that. So keep that in mind when you're deciding between an accelerated program or not. If you don't have to work, it's definitely more doable, I think. Or if you have to work very minimally, maybe 15, 20 hours a week, I think it's still doable. And you could even still do it working 50 hours like myself. It's a lot. And it really makes you question things, and almost to the point of giving up. Not quite, but like, I don't know, everybody's different, but that's how I feel about that. I don't want to bash anybody or anything, but I do want to share my experience at Valencia in particular. I have kind of noted that some of the classes right now don't have lectures, which is very important to me and a lot of my other students I've talked to. It's really like, if you can read PowerPoints in the book and understand heavy concepts, then you're good. But if you need any kind of extra help, and you don't have a lot of extra time because you're working or something else, then you might have some trouble. There's that, and then some of the sentiment of some of the teachers at some times is not always very positive, and I really think it's because it's a new program and it's a little difficult for everyone. But I just wanted to make note, at this time it's a little hard for me to recommend Valencia. I might change my mind after next semester or after I graduate, who knows. But this first semester, if you've watched my other videos, you'll know that my cohort, my group of students that I started with, we are the first to go through this new program for Valencia. So they do have some bugs to work out for sure. And we are trying to present our opinions to them in a nice, manner, so that maybe in the future some of these kinks can be worked out. So that is my hope and goal for the future of the students who go there. But as of now, I don't really recommend very many people to start with Valencia. I know the other schools have issues too, and I can't speak to those because I don't go to those schools. But if you do start at Valencia, I would suggest part-time. For anybody, almost anybody, I would suggest part-time too, just because there is so much. And not only that I talked about the amount of classes and like how there's no lectures, but there's also a lot of disorganized stuff right now, and that's to be expected. It is a new program, so you have to give a little slack there. But all of that combined kind of makes like the perfect storm, and we'll make it through, but it's going to be pretty difficult for this cohort, at least. Hoping the next ones they've learned a couple things and changed a couple things up, but that is it for now. I also wanted to mention that I joined the Valencia Nursing Student Association, and I am the president-elect. That means the current president, she's going to be graduating next semester. So after she graduates, I will take over for her. So right now I'm kind of training and learning everything that she does. And the reason I joined this, I mentioned to you, I don't have a lot of time, so it sounds kind of silly, but I really like this kind of work that they do, philanthropic work. I like that. And also it's, you can use, if you join, and you can use the volunteer hours, and when you graduate, if you reach a certain number of hours, then you can wear special cords at graduation, which I really, really enjoy. So there's that, and also another organization that you can join if you become a VNSA member is the National Student Nursing Association, and they also have special graduation cords that you can get when you join the student association for them. And there's also lots of other benefits. You can look online, check out the website, nsna.com. I think that's what it is. Check that out and see if that seems like something interesting for you as a nursing student. And that's about it. That's the main updates I wanted to give. Today is Halloween, and maybe this video isn't quite as, not produce quite as well as maybe some of my other ones, but I'm using my cell phone camera this time, so hopefully you can hear me for the audio portion. If not, I will need to adjust for next time, but I just wanted to say, even if you are planning to go to Valencia, I do wish you the best of luck. You are going to do great. I'm so excited for you and everybody else, and we can all make it through. We just got to take one day at a time, one assignment at a time, 1 minute at a time. Just keep going. And I will try to update you after, probably at the end of this semester. So that'll be in December, I'm thinking. Maybe sooner, but if I think of some new topic, or if you suggest a new topic in the comments, I'm more than happy to answer questions on those things. But for now, that's it. That's the main things I wanted to update you on. Oh yeah, so the December one, it would be an update telling you about clinicals and how I feel after the semester's over. So those were the main ideas I had for that next video. But if you had anything to add, let me know. And I think a lot of you have already clicked the subscribe button so you can be notified when I make new videos. Just want to thank you for joining me along on my ride, and I wish you all the best of luck. Have a good Halloween.